What's up, dudes? All right, I'm not gonna lie, I cheated on you a little bit. I did a little bit of work yesterday and didn't film it. My apologies. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Chuck, you got a haircut. And you'd be right. Now that that's out of the way, let me go ahead and show you what we're getting into today and show you what we're gonna fix. You remember in one of the last M3 videos, I talked about the fact that the oil pan gasket was leaking. Well, to remove the oil pan, there's a lot of work. You're gonna drop the subframe and remove some of the suspension components and such. So I figured while I'm doing that, I'd go ahead and refresh a bunch of other items. So let's go ahead and take a look. Alrighty, hopefully the lighting is not too bad here, but basically what I've done so far is I've removed the front control arms. They mount here, here, and then to the back of the hub here. Steering rack has been suspended by some zip ties, but it basically mounted on the subframe here. Control arm over there is removed. What we're gonna be doing is pulling the subframe. Motor mounts there are gonna be replaced. That one doesn't look too bad actually. This one looks a little grungier. Maybe didn't need to be replaced, but we're gonna replace them anyway. So we're gonna have new control arms, new motor mounts. Subframe is gonna be reinforced and put back in. The oil pan itself, this big guy goes all the way down through, is gonna be replaced with this one sitting right over here. I'll show you in a minute. It's got baffles in it, box of parts down here. But basically, redoing the front suspension minus the struts and springs. And eventually we're gonna be doing the tie rods here as well. The tie rods on the end of the steering rack. But step one is replace this oil pan with a new gasket, and then once inside, we need to verify whether the oil pump nut has been safety wired / Loctited, and then we might have to address that as well. Here's our box of parts. We got 2 control arms, 2 tie rods here, the full tie rod, both the inner and outer. We've got 2 motor mounts. And then we got a bunch of like little extraneous clamps and things needed to do the tie rods. Oil pan gasket is down here in this little box. But yeah, that's what we got. You know, replace all this stuff. Brand new ball joints already pressed into these, so it should be pretty straightforward. Now, I apologize for not filming a lot yesterday. It was a lot of me swearing and cursing and grunting, just trying to get the ball joints out of their homes in the subframe and in the hub. So it's probably not super exciting anyway, but hopefully you'll get to see it all back in reassembly, kind of cut out all that boring crap of just watching me fight to try to get old parts off of an old car. Got safety first, had a lot of stuff falling in my eyes yesterday. Wasn't very exciting. And I couldn't see. So we're going goggles, glasses today. Is that the right one? All right, small note, but big issue. I didn't mention it, but this engine is actually supported from above. We take the subframe out of an E36. The subframe is what the motor mounts mount to. So obviously you can't take the subframe out and have the motor fall through the floor. So Harbor Freight sells, it's like 50 bucks with a coupon, little engine support bar you can put on top, and it basically slings the engine from the top. That way you can take the subframe out the bottom, and then you don't have issues with dying when your engine falls on your face. So we've done that here. I can show you that a little bit later in the video. I'm still taking precaution, and I'm using, this is like a 1 or 1.5 ton, yeah, 3/4 ton jack stand. And you'll find if you ever get a lift that there's a lot of tools that you never had that now you need to have, like tall jack stands. All right, so as you can see, having the subframe out of the way gives you way more room to access your oil pan. It also gives you way more room to clean up in here. If you need to do anything else, we got to pull these motor mounts off. I'm gonna clean up this steering rack probably, see how grody it is. And then I already replaced the steering guibo right here. That's this guy. So it's brand new, and then it'll have to be, obviously reset once we get everything put back together. But yeah, oil pan is now the next thing to remove. All right, I had to undo the power steering pump so this corner could get out of the way. I think we're good to take the oil pan off. Oh my God, the camera died, but I got it out. Here's the stock oil pan. As suspected, stock baffle is in there, which is okay. It's okay, that's why we bought the new one. So, came out, I had to drop the sway bar, and I had to pull off that, just enough to let that power steering pump kind of hang out of the way. This is what the bottom of your engine looks like without an oil pan gasket. Well, there's a gasket on it. I gotta peel it off. But yeah, that's what we're working with. Here's your oil pickup. Oil pump is up here. It looks like my oil pump nut has not been safety wired or anything, so it's good. We bought the kit to do that. So yeah, doesn't look too bad. It looks pretty clean actually. That's good. It's good news. Alrighty, I hope you guys can see this. This guy right here is the oil pump nut. This is the oil pump. That's the nut on it. These things have been, I guess, some people think it's overstated, but known to back off. Back off, this comes off, oil pump stops working, engine dies. So this guy, I got a new one that's got a little hole in it so you can safety wire it to the cog here and make sure it never comes off. So let's go ahead and do that. Cool, so I safety wired the oil pump nut. Basically what that means is this wire connecting to the pulley there will prevent, this is the nut, connects to this pulley, prevents the nut from being able to back off because obviously it's connected to the pulley itself. So that'll prevent oil starvation issues from the pulley actually coming off. Let me show you the pan really fast. These are the two oil pans, obviously. This is the one that came off the car, super dirty. It's kind of hard to tell, but this is the stock baffle. There's nothing underneath there, just kind of open. This is the one we're going to be replacing it with. This is a VAC Motorsports, VAC Motorsports. It's kind of cool. It's got little BMW logo on it, or little BMW like kidney grills and stuff. Basically, the idea here is that you see these little doors, little trap doors. It lets oil flow in to where the sump, where the little oil pickup is, but not flow out under G-force. So oil can come in this way, but if you hit G's or whatever, it'll close that door from just letting like a flood of oil disappear. It can still seep through under bottom, so it's not like it'll get starved the other way around. But yeah, that's basically how that works. We're going to be swapping the pan for this guy. This guy has to go back to my local shop. They're going to take it as a core exchange. With the oil pump nut safety tied, or safety wired, basically the next goal is to get the oil pan back on with a new gasket. There's a few places you have to put RTV or some silicone. Basically, anywhere you see the block join, either the timing cover or in the back, it joins the, like, I don't know what that is, part of the, it's not the bell housing, but back where it kind of joins the transmission. These joints You see there's a little bit of residue there that's left over from the RTV that was on there before. That needs to be cleaned off. Clearly, what you want is a nice seal between the oil pan and the block. So obviously the cleaner both sides can be, the easier it's going to be for it to seal. So that's really the next step, is we got to make sure this is super clean. I've already done some cleaning. Got to make sure it's even cleaner. Those little like chunky bits you see right there are not there anymore. All right, the RTV is on the joints. Hopefully that's enough. I've heard not to overkill it, so we'll see. Hopefully that covers it, because I really don't want to have another oil leak, obviously. While I had the access, I went ahead and threw the new motor mounts in. The stock ones actually don't look too bad. Look pretty good. They're still really firm. I just, peace of mind, wanted to do it. They're not cheap though. They're like 40 or 50 bucks each. Alrighty, the pan is back on and torqued to spec. Let's hope no more leaks. Let's hope. So we obviously got to put our drain plug back in. I'm going to clean this up a tiny bit. I got a new washer for it. But the drain plug's got to go in so we can eventually fill it with oil. I'm going to wait probably a day or so to put oil in it, because that RTV that's in the corners needs a little bit of time to cure before it gets too in contact with oil. So yeah, should be at least over the hill. All right, we're sort of at a point where I have to stop until tomorrow. The dipstick's back in, the drain plug's back in, the pan's on, obviously. I tried to clean up a little bit here and there, clean up these arms, and just kind of, de-grime everything a little bit. It's basically an impossible task, but just trying to make it a little bit more presentable under here. But the one thing that's kind of annoying, the subframe that has to go back in before I can kind of put everything else back together, like the control arms and everything. I ordered one, and it is reinforced, so it's already got the little reinforcement plates put in for the motor mounts and everything. And something's going on with shipping. There's a shipping mix-up. I thought it was going to be here already, but my tracking number basically says that it's in Oklahoma and was delivered. So I don't live in Oklahoma, obviously, and the shop, I emailed them and they said, oh, we can't check till Sunday because we don't work on the weekends. So whatever, fair enough, but I'm without a subframe until then, which is kind of annoying, because I was kind of hoping to put a lot of this back together, get the car ready, and then get it basically aligned and everything this week. But hopefully in a couple minutes for you, or a couple seconds for you guys, will be in maybe a day or two for me, and we can get everything put back together and get the car back on the road. Let's do it.